Alright, so kind of got to about a standstill right now until I make the decision on Max. But on making the decision if I'm going to pull the 4-speed out first, or if I'm going to take and try and get this motor and transmission out together. I like to do it together, but I think in this situation right now I ain't got much room to, I can't move the car back no further, and I ain't got no room to move it forward. So I don't know, it's going to be kind of interesting getting this thing out. Kind of almost thinking about taking this radiator support off, that fender off, and lifting it up, and somehow or another I can get the motor high enough. If I pull the transmission off first, then maybe I could slide this front end over. It's just been a kind of awkward situation because I got obstacles in the way here. You know, you got building here, building there, and just doing this in the woods. But so this is what we got so far. Got the radiator out, showed you all that, and got the I'm gonna get ready and get this fan spacer and all that good stuff out. I'm gonna get that out of there because they're really extremely hard to find. You can't really find them. They're supposed to be for quote unquote the non-AC cars, but they're very, very hard to find. But I got the throttle linkage, all that's undone. The only thing that's still hooked up is the oil pressure sending unit. That's just an old plastic line. I don't want them to remove that yet because I've been fighting this rain on and off here, and just not quite ready to do that yet. Did go ahead and remove our temperature sending unit there, our mechanical one, and yeah, I know I stuck a spark plug in there just to try to keep trash out of there, but I'm gonna see if I can find either a pipe plug or like throw some tape or something on. I'll see what I can do with that, but I don't want to get much trash in it. So let's go underneath here. I did get the dry shaft out. I got that out next, and it wasn't too bad. So our dry shaft is out, and I went ahead and threw a slip yoke in there. I made a short video about that. That's just the old one I threw in there. That way it holds the gear oil in so it doesn't make a big mess. And that's what I do. Like I said, Summit Racing makes a little cone kind of shape tool that you can stick in there, and they're supposed to be quote unquote fit just about any transmission. But I've tried that, but it still leaks, so I just, you know, take old slip yoke like that and throw it in there. But at least that way, I mean, it still might drip a little bit, but at least that way it's holding all the gear oil in. I removed all the shifter assembly. All that good stuff is out of the way there. So I don't know why in the world, when I put this motor in here in that 4-speed there, I don't know why in the world I was fighting that thing so much trying to get that shifter in there. I was doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I had the cross member out. I had the transmission, you know, lowered it down and tried to put the shifter and bolt it all up, and then you know, jack the transmission up and then put the cross member out. I was doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't know what in the world I was thinking there, but see, I make mistakes too. But like, all I had to do was come in here and trim this floor out just a tiny bit, and the shifter will come right on out. All I do is just notch this out just a little bit. Really particularly right in here, but just notch that a little bit and boom, pull right on out. I did not do all this. I'm gonna weld all this up. All this is gonna get covered, so it'll just be this nice little square here. I'm gonna trim this up and clean this up, and I'll take care of that because I know it looks ugly, but I'll take care of that. That was already done when I bought the car. And then this notch right here, down here, I did because I had the clearance for the shifter and all. But I still have the pads on there in the trim. I have to get all that off too. But the clutch pedal, the Z-bar, all that stuff is already out. Got all that out of the way as well. So there's a little pivot ball down there, threads into the side of the block. That's out of the way. Got all the springs. Everything's pretty much just about out of the way. So the only thing that's left is basically just make a decision here. And I don't want to do it, but I think I'm about to pull the 4-speed out. Just manhandle it and get it out. And once that's out, the transmission ain't no big deal getting it out. But this motor's going to be a little bit interesting, that's for sure. Definitely going to be a little interesting. But I did throw this exhaust manifold back on here. Just snugged them up for now. That way, you know, like I said, been fighting the rain on and off. and I do not want this motor to get ruined. So I'm gonna take it and I'll dig some tape out, and I'll probably put a little tape on the thermostat housing, water pump outlet, and our sitting unit for our temperature sitting unit there, and do some thing to our oil pressure too. But kind of at a standstill, and I think the why this thing was misfiring a little bit is I've said a few different times I think it could be the spark plug wires might have a have a short somewhere or something like that, or I have seen that where you got a bad plug wire to make it misfire. So it could be that. I think maybe the ignition module might be bad. I was thinking all kinds of crazy stuff. Sometimes that little rotor and that distributor there, if it gets enough wear on it, it won't make very good contact as the engine's running, and you get a little wider gap. It just gets wider and wider over time. I've seen that, or they'll just move just a little bit slightly and it'll make a misfire. It's just so much stuff that is going on. But I think originally, I think what it really is, because it's like when you give a little throttle, it wants to pop and backfire through the car, which to me kind of tells me I think it's running lean. Which if we look at our fuel pump, I mean, you could tell. Look at the inlet there, a lot of trash in it, a lot of trash. So I think our fuel pump has failed, and I think that's what's actually wrong with it. So I had pulled the carburetor off. I was thinking a bunch of trash in the carburetor. Put this one on 1406. Yep, 1406 in the center of the screen right there. So I did that, and it's the same thing. So that to me tells me that I think it's just the fuel pump. But either way, it's gonna get freshened up. We'll put a new distributor in it, new plug wires, and new fuel pump. Obviously, we'll freshen it up. But just do cosmetic things on it, but I want to get it out right now, and I like to get it put away so that it's out of the weather and I ain't got to worry about it. That's why I'm doing all this work. And then I'm debating on if I'm gonna throw it in my C10 for now. Just take everything, the 283 and the 4-speed, throwing it over in that, and just run it. Because that little 305, I mean, it's okay, but I like to put something that's a little more reliable. If I want to go a long distance trip, I ain't got to worry about it, you know. But so I'd like to do that. But I think for now we're going to get it out, put it in storage, and then I'll make the decision on putting it in my truck. Because I don't want to be pulling, 50 million motors out every time I turn around. I just, it's a lot of work. And it's not really that bad, but I just don't want to sit there and pull it out and then turn around and have to pull it out again. But the other reason too why this thing's got to come back out is it's got to come back out mainly because we got a lot of issues that's got to be addressed on this car. We got a lot, just body issues. So I'm gonna get it out of the way so I can see what I really got. Of course, it's raining again. Well, that's actually just the wind blowing it off the leaves and stuff. But we got to address all these issues. I think this fender right here, we're going to pull this fender off. I'm going to put the original GM fender back on it. It's a 66 fender and all. I do have 67 fenders, but I don't have a radiator support or inner fenders or a hood. But I don't have any of that. I think the fan spacers are the same between 66 and 67. I'm not 100% sure. I think. But don't quote me on that. No, I don't think they are. I'm trying to remember. Now, I know the radiator support because your headlight buckets on a 67 are all that's made into the radiator support. So it might be different. But either way, it's got to come out. All that's got to come out and get out of the way so I can get this body lined up better and see what's truly what. That way I can see all the body mounts, get this front clip off. And I think we're just going to take the trunk pan and take all the braces off of it. We'll sit in there one final time, but I know it's off. And we'll pull it back out, and we'll just go through. It's a lot of work, but I'm going to draw all the spot welds out and take all the braces off the trunk pan, the new reproduction trunk floor, and sit the pan in there. And then just go through, and I'll have to weld up every single spot weld that was drilled out, unfortunately, which is going to be a lot of work. And just go in there and straighten it all out, because I made another video the other few weeks back, and I was showing this brace here, and it is lined up. Because if you look, that is dead on. So I think what it was, to begin with is the braces. Where they put that thing on a jig, they were just not lined up right. That's what I think it was. So unfortunately, I took the time and did this one. So I mean, that's a lot of work to drill all them spot welds out, but you know, but it ain't like you can't go back and weld it back up. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, and bolt all the body mounts up back here in this area, and then sit the trunk pan down and just weld it all back up. Just spot weld it all back in, and then call that good. And then once we know our body's lined up correctly, then we got to address this front clip. The doors are not too bad. Our gaps aren't really awful, but that's pretty good. Door's down just a little bit, but it's not horrible. Not horrible. So, and that's a good original door, and I'm gonna put a nice original. The bottom of the fender's rotted out, but I don't care. You know, that could be patched very easily. We're gonna pull that fender off, and I got nice original GM inner fenders and nice outer fenders for it. So basically, we're gonna put everything back original sheet metal, and I think it'll get rid of a lot of these issues. Now, granted, this fender is not bolted down, but that's a heck of a gap there. And it's maxed out. You can't slide this fender back no more. And you could go in there and notch it out just a little bit so it'll go back a little further. But it's just everything. This fender is so out of whack. That's not the body. That's in the fender. I think when they stamped it, this crease is not correct. But, I mean, get what you pay for, unfortunately. It's an AMD fender. That's the brand of it. It's a Dynacorn hood there. But everything, all the sheet metal to this car is AMD except for the radiator support and that hood. That's a Dynacorn hood, but it all comes from Taiwan though. But so I'm gonna see if I can do that and get all this stuff out of the way so we can see what we truly got, so we can get everything lined up and straightened up. It's like this inner fender here, this is a repop fender here, and we got bolt holes that even repop stuff doesn't line up right. The repop on top repop, so that's a repop fender on top of a repop fender, and the bolt holes are still off. I mean, look at there. There's the bolt hole in the fender there. It's not even lined up with the inner fender. Can't even put a bolt in there. So it's just things like that, you know. You'd have to go in there, weld this hole up, re-drill it, and then just to move the bolt over. It's just things like that. And I just, you know, I'm going to save all this repop stuff, but I think we're going to go back for all original, as much original sheet metal as we can, so that'll eliminate all these issues, hopefully. Because look, this is a 67 body with a 66 fender, and look at the gap right here. I mean, it's not perfect, but that's a lot better from this to this. Much better. Yep, that's a lot better gap. And like I said, that fender on the driver's side over there, it's not bolted down. It's got a bolt that threads up to hold that fender to pull it in. But even then, if you take it and push it in, like I just did a second ago, it's still, I mean, it's so out of whack, it ain't funny. See, look, I'll take and push it in with my knee, just like that, where it's flush just about. And we still got a gap. So we're going to get rid of this fender. And, well, I'm going to keep it, but we're going to get rid of all this ugliness right here. And throw a nice original back on it, and I'll just patch the bottom of it and let it ride. I mean, should have just did that to begin with, but kind of learned the hard way. But and these are original doors, so, and I have a better set of doors. Well, I wouldn't say better, but I have another set of doors too, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. But we do have a gap down here at the bottom here, but the door I don't think is actually shut. No, it's not. But I think that could be addressed. That's just the striker, I think. Yeah, probably just move that striker in a little bit, and then it needs to be, the door needs to be tweaked just a little bit. But this gap right here, oh yeah, you can see that. Yeah, it needs to be out just a little bit. But you can get rid of all those issues. It's not a big deal. But this is why we're pulling the motor and the 4-speed and all that good stuff out, is I'd like to take in, you know, I want to get all these addressed. And I'm probably going to end up taking the body back off the frame completely and getting some 4x4s I think it'd be strong enough. We'll put some bracing in so the quarters and stuff don't flex. And I'm not putting quarter panels on this car. It's not really necessary in my opinion. I got the patch panels to patch the bottom of them there. And I got the trunk drop-offs, extensions, whatever you want to call it, same thing. I have all that. We're not replacing the whole quarter panel. It's just no need. All that's good metal. We got a little bit of rot right in here, and obviously the bottom of it, but we're not going to disturb all that. We're just going to patch the bottom and let it ride. And all. The feller that was going to help me on it back in 2016, he was wanting to lap weld that lower quarter patch panel in it, and to me, and I'm not trying to talk bad or anything, but to me that's completely unacceptable. And you know, the outside of the car like that, you know, you don't lap weld it like that. You want to butt weld it in because it's flush. You don't want to be lap welding in. It's just going to cause a bunch of issues and everything else later on. But yeah, I always butt weld stuff in like that because you see all that. But yeah, that's why that kind of didn't work out, because he was talking about lap welding them in and all that, and I'm like, okay, if he's going to lap weld that in, then I wonder what the rest of my car's going to look like. So yeah, I decided not to get him to fix it, and this is part of the reason why you have to get out there and do stuff yourself, because the way I look at it, if I screw it up, then it's on me. But I don't want a body shop or something like that, because the first body shop I was going to take it to wanted a crazy amount of money. I think they wanted like $5,000-$6,000 to start off, and then they wanted almost $10,000 just to get the car and primer, basically to paint ready, as you would say. And that's completely ridiculous. But I mean, you could take if I'm going to take $10,000, I could get me a good welder and, you know, do it myself. And I have nowhere near that. This car would probably be completely redone for that amount of money. But that's why, you know, sometimes you just got to do it yourself. But I'm going to take the body off the frame. We're going to clean this frame up really good. And, you know, like I said, I'm just a poor country boy. I don't have the money to have it powder coated and all that mess. We're just going to PRR 15 the frame and you know, rebuild the front rear suspension. Just let it ride. But I think that's going to be the best bet right there, because I mean, I just I don't know what else to do, unfortunately. You just got to get out there and do it yourself. And I'm hoping that this frame, that'll give me a chance too. We'll get some 4x4s and just sit the body on top of them, and that way it's not sitting on the ground. We'll brace it up a little bit, and yeah, that way nothing don't flex too much. And then I can kind of see if this frame's ever been rear-ended or anything. I mean, it does look like it's been tweaked a little bit, like back in here. I don't know, like somebody hit it and pushed it in. I don't know. I have to figure that out. Looks like it needs to, I don't know, because if it was hit, it'd be crinkled and everything else. It would be buckled, because if it was hitting on this side, it'd be crinkled all up in here and everything. So I really don't think that's the issue. The issue too is this is a 66 frame, and it's a 67 body. So I know the coil springs and where they bulked up at the bottom down there, I know that's definitely different. But yeah, we definitely look at our spring there. Yeah, look at that coil on that one. Of course, we got a flat tire on this side, but anyway, we'll have to figure out what's going on back here. But I know the trunk pan and the braces can be tweaked and worked, but I still don't like how that frame is pretty much rubbing that inner fender or that wheel tub there. And this side we got a heck of a gap, so I want to get that evened out there so it's a nice gap on each side, because you don't want it touching and rubbing, because that's going to cause issues too. So I'm going to figure something out about that. But this is why I'm doing it, so we can pull this body back off the frame, wire wheel the frame. We'll do some measuring and all that and see what's truly what with it. And it'd be nice to put an end to this project, because I've been working on it since '06. And like I said, that 283 right there came out of that 2-door post. And I'd like to end this project, honestly, and being that the car is on the road, you know, that's what this channel is actually named after originally. But I'd like to get this project wrapped up. I don't care about painting the car interior, and I just want to get on the road, you know. Dylan McCool, that's the one that he likes doing restorations. Road like you drive on, and then restorations. Just get them, you know, reliable, get them back on the road. I really like his channel. He's pretty cool. But that's what I want to do to this, is get everything straightened out on it, and you know, make it reliable and not be a yet again basket case number 2, but I don't want to name it that. But all right, so that's where we're at, and I figure I'd show y'all why I'm pulling the motor and everything out of it. And just for a fun fact too, is if I pull it out and put it in storage for a little while, or if I decided to put it in my C10, you know, I just want to run it just to put it back in service for a little while and to get some use out of it. I mean, this motor was built back in 2010, and it's, yeah, the cam's been broke in. It's been up down the road a few times, but you know, it really needs to be driven and enjoyed. And I'd like to pull it out and put it in the C10 and just enjoy it, you know, get some use to it and fine tune it and see how it really is running, and you know, just kind of go from there. But then again, you know, I don't want to be pulling motors out 2 and 3 times, because the 427 tall deck is the motor that will go in the C10. The TBI motor is the one that will go in the Chevelle, and the 454 is the one that will go in the Biscayne when everything is the way I want it. But I don't want to keep switching motors and all that around, but you know, it's just, I like to get some use out of it and have fun with it. But that's where we're at. I'm going to end the video here, and hope y'all enjoy. Thanks for watching.